Recently in the series on 1 Corinthians, Rick referenced the story in Joshua 9 about the Gibeonites coming to Joshua and the leaders of the people of Israel and tricking them into making a treaty with them, a treaty that God had forbidden. And I love this story probably because I can visualize these men coming up to Joshua and the leaders of Israel, just like, as if they've come on this long journey and they've got these old, stinky, dirty clothes on, and their shoes have holes in them, and their wineskins are all cracked, and their bread is moldy and crusty and dry. And they are just putting on this tremendous act for how they've come from such a far distance. And here's all the proof of it. I'd encourage you to read through the whole story in Joshua chapter 9. But I think it also does contain a very sad verse of all the verses in the Bible. And there are some sad ones, but this one has always struck me as sad. In verse 14, it says, "So the men of Israel took some of their provisions and did not ask for the counsel of the Lord." In other words, the leaders of Israel looked at their old clothes. They felt their bread that was all dry. They investigated their cracked wineskins. They noted their worn out sandals. And they relied on what they could see before them. And they didn't bother to ask God what they should do in this situation. Don't we think that the God who had given specific instructions for how to take down the walls of Jericho could have given them insight into the deceit of the Gibeonites? That verse is sort of the antithesis to Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, which says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take." Had Joshua and the leaders of Israel consulted God rather than leaning on their own understanding, I believe God would have shown them the right path to take. And so today I would challenge you, who are you like? Are you like the person that Proverbs is addressing, who doesn't lean on their own understanding, but instead goes to God? Or are you like Joshua and the leaders of Israel in this snapshot that we see in Joshua 9, who didn't seek the counsel of the Lord, who looked with their own eyes, felt with their own hands, relied on their own senses and their own wisdom, and made a huge mistake? I would encourage you to take to heart their example and follow the words in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6.